You have to take a few moments to let your eyes adjust. You see, there are bodies laying on the floor. You don't want to accidentally step on someone's hand, a limb. You don't want to wake anyone else up. This will be a solo mission. The band of men have sprawled out on every available space they could. The small house is now warm. The entire night of men breathing, some still snoring. And he has to make his way to the door. The challenge of getting over everyone who's still in slumber is one thing. Opening the door and getting out to freedom, that's another. To gently put your hand on the metal latches, to try to open the large wooden door without making a sound, and there to feel the cold night air come rushing in. He will grab his cloak and pull it over himself and tighten it, put the hood down over to his eyebrows, and there he'll step out into the darkness. And with just as much stealth, he will turn around and try to shut the door again. No noise. And he will begin to walk. Through the neighborhoods will be his challenge. That's where even in the earliest hours of morning, you can still be recognized. Those in the city that have started to stir, those that have jobs long before the rest of the population awakes. And again, with his cloak over and around him, he'll keep his face down, eyes on the cobblestone, and he will move quickly. It's not until he gets outside the city gate. He'll relax. He'll loosen his cloak. He'll take deeper breaths. The bushes, the shrubs, the wild flowers don't seem to recognize, at least they don't seem to care. And he will find a lonely place. And there he will example for something, for you and I, what we may be dearly missing at this time. And so there into that quiet place, into that loneliness, amidst so much hurry, busyness, noise, and change, we find an answer I think you and I are both craving to a question we might not even be asking. And I want to take you there. I want to tell you with some vulnerability, I missed this my first 10 years of ministry. I missed it. And I want to tell you with what's going on right now, and this, a time in your life as a leader, there's no better time to catch this principle. It's the first principle of ministry before ministry actually starts. So if you got a Bible, I want you to open it to Mark chapter 1. If you don't have a Bible, I want you to take out your smartphone, click your little Bible app, and go to Mark chapter 1. You're somewhere right now where you can go up and get a Bible. Come on, these next few sentences aren't that important. Get the Word of God in front of you. That's what we're studying as leaders. And we're going to find out how during this time of uncertainty for us, our ministry, and our people, we can live an incredibly unbalanced life. And that's what I want to push you on. So much of these conferences and so much of leadership today talks about balance in life and living a balanced life. I tend to think a balanced life is foolish. I don't want my life to be balanced. I want my life to be out of balance. I want to live an unbalanced life. But here's the beauty as leaders. You and I get to choose how to unbalance our life. And if we don't make that strategic, I promise you, your life and your ministry will get you unbalanced in the wrong direction. So in Mark chapter 1, are you ready for this? Oh, and let me tell you how hard this is for a flaming extrovert to talk to a camera with just my buddy Steven behind the camera and an empty room when I want to be at Thrive, when I want to be on stage, not just because of the crowds. Okay, a little bit because of the crowds, but the hanging out before and after, the time hanging with all of you, the breakout sessions, the goofing off in the plaza, the connections that we make once a year. Oh, to hang out with my Bayside staff, represent, to hang out with the Thrive crew, which I love, and to do this in my own church in an empty room. This is nuts, but we're going to do it together. Are you ready? Okay, that's all me just saying, I miss it, I'm grieving it. This is the best we can do right now, so listen up. Mark chapter 1, jumping in, verse 35. Very early in the morning, while it was still dark, Jesus got up, left the house, and went off to a solitary place where he prayed. Now Simon and his companions went to look for him, and when they found him, they exclaimed, "Everyone," circle, highlight, underline, "everyone is looking for you." And this is what we live for. Man, this is successful ministry. Can I remind you, we're in chapter, come on, just pretend like we're together and play with me, okay? We're in chapter You didn't even say it. Stephen didn't even say it behind the counter. We're in chapter 1. This is the very beginning. If you go back to the first few verses just before this, he just called some fishermen to follow him. They went to a synagogue where a demon-possessed man screamed out and he healed him. And the crowd's like, what is this power? Who is this guy? And Jesus stayed up all night long healing those who were sick and demon-possessed. So way into the early hours of the morning, man, he's got a healing ministry going on. Now, very early the next morning, he gets up. Disciples are all sleeping in this small little brick block house in Capernaum. He's stepping over bodies. He's getting himself out into the darkness. He doesn't want to be recognized. He gets to a lonely place, a solitary place, and he's got some alone time to think about, wow, what a start. And then he gets news because there's such a line at the door, because as the sun starts to rise, as the earliest of the disciples start to stir a little bit, they hear it. And as they open the door, there's faces outside. We're sorry to disturb you. Is he still here? We're sorry to disturb you. But someone knocked on my house 4 hours ago. Someone came to my house and told me there's hope for my little girl. You see, when the blind are healed, when the paralyzed are healed, when the lame are healed, when the sick are healed, when the demon-possessed are healed, you don't just go home that night and celebrate. You go knock on someone else's house. See, all of you have a network. The blind know the other blind. There's a network. The paralyzed have the paralyzed network. Those that are sick have a network. See, you learn to do this together in a community. You learn to grieve together. And when you find there's an answer for whatever it is that ails you, you have knocked on other doors that night. And you told your buddy, your little girl may be able to walk. What? What are you talking about? What time is it? Why are you here? I've seen a guy who can make people walk. How early did they leave? If you have a loved one, a spouse, a child in first century and there's no hope of healing, and you find there's hope, how early do you get up and leave? Yeah, I make that journey for my girls, no matter how far I have to go. And the line has already started at the door. There's a knock on the door. The disciples are all now being woke up. Can you get Jesus? Yeah, he's sleeping. He was right over there. And as they look around the house, he's not there. And the disciples now have to spread out and find out, where did he go? Where is he? And when they finally find him in his lonely place, in his solitary place, they bring this news: success. Whatever ministry we want to do in this town, tenfold. No, not tenfold, 100-fold. Everyone has gathered and is looking for you. Oh, come on, pastor. Come on, church planner. Come on, ministry leader. Isn't this what you want? Oh, you started a junior high program? How many junior highs do you have showing up? All of them. What do you mean, all of them? Every kid in town comes to our youth group. Come on, church planners, is it? Well, how long have you been going? We've been going for 1.5 years now. Well, how many people do you have? All of them. Everyone in town shows up. I mean, this in chapter 1 is the most amazing success of any ministry. Of course, it's Jesus Christ himself, but aren't we supposed to be Christ-like? Great ministry. You put in your time, you put in your effort, you built a solid team. I don't know about solid, they're fishermen, but so far, no Judas. You've got a team around you going on. Now you've got some good stuff that's happening. You've done some good community service, and now everyone has showed up to do church with you. And here it goes. Jesus replied, "Let us go somewhere else, to the nearby villages, so I can preach there also. That is why I've come." So he traveled throughout Galilee, preaching in their synagogues and driving out demons. Oh, and a man with leprosy came to him and begged him, and now we start a whole new story about him healing a guy with leprosy. And I stop and go, wait, what? How Christ-like are we supposed to be? And in the 25 minutes they gave me, I know, 25 minutes, I don't get it either. We call that an intro. But in the 25 minutes they so graciously give me, you did, I do, I love you, Ray, I love you to death. You know that. Even behind your back, I love you. In the 25 minutes they gave me, that's all I want to cover. How to live an unbalanced life. Because here's my bet, leader. There is always a line at your door. There's always a text to respond to. There's always a call that has to be returned. There's always a need that has to be met. You and I don't struggle with And this isn't a message struggling with bad things. Maybe someone's getting the sin in our life. I've done that before. Oh, last year was great. Sin versus stupid. If you didn't catch last year's Thrive, I hope that's available somewhere. Watch that. That's about sin and stupid in our life. You know what this is about? This is about great ministry. And let me tell you what's going to be the death of your balanced life. Great ministry. Because great ministry is going to come with great needs. It's going to come with great demands on your time and on my time. And great ministry is going to greatly affect my marriage, and it's going to greatly affect my ministry with my kids. It's going to greatly affect my relationship with my kids and how they see dad. Great ministry is going to destroy us if we don't understand chapter 1. And maybe that's why it was chapter 1. Maybe the very end of Jesus' ministry, he gives us another glimpse of once again leaving the crowds, leaving the city, going by himself in the garden and praying. Maybe throughout, it wasn't just bookended, but before he called his 12, he went up to a mountain by himself and he prayed. After great success of feeding 5,000 people, what did he do? That's right. He got alone by himself and he prayed. He is constantly struggling with the success of ministry. Why? The success of ministry, when I get a knock on the door and they go, hey, the whole town has showed up, I start running toward the town. What are we going to do? How do we set this up? We got community service here. We got needs. We got seniors. We got youth. We got children's. Oh, we got more crowd. We got a parking ministry. Let's open up another campus. Let's open up another site. When you tell me there is a crowd that is coming to see Jesus, I run toward it. You know what I don't do? I don't run away from it. And have you caught this? Do you know how many people Jesus has greatly disappointed? Strategically, on purpose, he made a choice to disappoint people. See, we follow the verses to healing a paralyzed guy. We have Mark chapter 2. We have 4 guys bringing a paralytic. They cut a hole in the roof. Then we have the Pharisees in an argument with them. We start building the opposition in the ministry of Jesus. And I don't go back to the quiet verses. Oh, I love the calling of disciples. Oh, I love the healing of many and the demon being cast out. Oh, I love the leprosy. Oh, I love the crowds. Oh, I love it. It's not the healthy that need a doctor, but the sick. And yet in between there, as leaders, we're given a glimpse into leadership. It's the quiet verses. Early in the morning, long before dawn, he got away from the crowd just to realize, I can't meet the needs of the crowd. And if I don't have a time to get that into my head, I'm going to run back there and that's what I'm going to do. But he knows who he is, what he's supposed to do, and where he's supposed to do it. Oh, let me ask you, how much more contentment and joy would you and I have in life when we finally get to a point of going, I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do. I know where I'm supposed to do it. Do you see what that gives you? That gives you the freedom to say, well, I'm not going to do this, 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 and this. Why? I'm called to do this. That gives me the freedom to go, I can't commit to that. I'm not going to go there, and I'm not going to come out and see you. Why? Because I know where I'm supposed to do this. That gives me the freedom to say, I can't be what you want me to be because I know who I am. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I know where I'm supposed to do it. And if I try to be someone else, if I try to do other things, and if I try to go other places, I'm trying to be Christ. I'm supposed to be Christ-like. I'm not supposed to be him. When I die and rise again, I can meet the needs and save everyone. Until then, I got to learn how to be Chris, not Christ. See, I just have one letter to change around. Some of you got a lot more letters, and that's why we need chapter 1. So instead of going forward in the text, can I take you backwards? Can I take you back later that morning, afternoon, and simply ask a question? How long does a dad wait there with a little girl who can't walk before he gives up hope? Let me ask you a question. If you found there's one answer for your kid to find what your kid cannot find for wellness and hope, how long would you wait in line? That's what I thought. See, I've waited in line for sporting events and for tickets for hours before. To make sure my daughter could have the life I always wanted her. See, we follow the action of Jesus and the disciples. I've never gone back and waited outside the house and saw the line of people. And those that knew Jesus had taken off tried to tell them, hey guys, I'm sorry, you got to go back home. No, you don't understand. I brought my daughter. You don't understand. My buddy knocked on my door in the middle of the night and said, hey, there's hope. I got her. Yeah, but Jesus is not here. I know, but we saw his disciples. We saw the fishermen that are with him. They said they were going to go get him. They said they were going to tell Jesus that my daughter is here. She's broken. Yeah, you see, Jesus heard about your little girl, and he's not going to do anything about it. What? Yeah, Jesus knows there's a line. Jesus knows that you gathered early here. Jesus knows your needs, and he's not coming back for you. And here's the problem with a lot of leaders, or at least I'll just talk to myself. I don't like disappointing people. I don't like telling people I'm not going to do your wedding. I don't like telling people I'm not going to show up to your event. I don't like telling people I'm not going to come and speak. I don't like telling people I'm not going to drop by the house. I don't like telling people I'm not going to meet with you. I don't like telling marriages I'm not going to help you. Oh, we can wrap that up in a lot of different ways. I can say we have a counseling center. We have other pastors going to meet with you. But the real thing I'm telling them is you have called asking for Chris. You're not going to get Chris because Chris has got something better to do. What in the world do you have to do that's better than helping someone's marriage? Well, I'm playing Super Smash Bros. With my 13-year-old. That's what I'm doing. I'm playing video games. And that's better. You see, that's my God thing. And here's the problem with not understanding chapter 1. We will let great things get in the way of the God things in our life. We will let great ministry opportunities unbalance our God-given opportunity. And this is the problem with chapter 1. If you're wired like I am, I want to run to the crowd and I want to fix every need that is coming. Look, I'm not trying to solve the world's problems. These are people coming to me. These are people coming to my church. These are people calling my phone. These are people coming to my office. This was the knock on my door. And I feel like, therefore, I have to meet these needs. But let me ask you, at what cost? The amount of pastors I talk with, the amount of stuff we hear about burnout in ministry, the need for Sabbath. Why? Because we've lived an unbalanced life for so long. If I don't get 3 months of break, my heart and my head is going to collapse. And I want to go back and not talk about Sabbath, but I want to go back and go, well, then how have you run your life up until that point? I think we've forgotten about being unbalanced. You see, balanced is my ministry and my personal life. Well, we're balanced. See, that's why I hate this balance. I don't want my family to be balanced with anything else in my life. I don't want my wife to feel like, the balance, the scales. I don't want my wife to go, oh, no, Chris keeps me even with everything else. That's my wife of 25 years, dated for 2.5 years before that. I don't want my kids to go, oh, no, Dad's got a balanced life. We're about even with all that Dad is called to do because, he's an important man. He's got a large church. No, I want to live such an incredibly unbalanced life that my wife has never seen the bride of Christ as my mistress, that my kids have never hated the church or the God that I serve. I remember when I left the ministry, when I started to understand this early on, I only had 2 kids at that time, 2 girls. But I got up and I told the place I was ministering why I had to leave. And I said, I got to get to a place of better health. And this place just doesn't seem to do it for me. It doesn't seem like I have the freedom to make these decisions in a former place. And before I did that, I wanted to make certain, why am I making this? What is my ministry? And I came up with 3 ministry goals. 3 ministry goals. And here's my 3 ministry goals. My 3 ministry goals are that when my kids turn 18, they love the God that I serve. My second ministry goal is that when my kids turn 18, they love their dad and the way he served. And my third ministry goal is when my kids turned 18, they love the church or ministry that their dad served in. Those are my ministry goals. And I told the congregation, I told the crowd that, and I said, I'm in search of that kind of unbalanced life for the next 40, 50 years if God gives me it. And I had some great mentors and some great wise people in my life came forward in the next week or 2 and said, Chris, you've got great family goals. Those aren't ministry goals. Those are great personal goals. Don't lose them. But as you're pursuing this, find ministry goals. And I thought, yeah, I wish I would have talked to you earlier. And so over the course of the next week and a half of searching and looking and being open, I came up with 3 ministry goals. And they're the exact same goals. These are my ministry goals. Well, Chris, where does your wife fit into that? Oh, if I'm doing these 3 things, my wife loves and adores me. If I'm doing these 3 things, if my kids are loving their dad and their God in the church, I must be loving my wife so much above these 3 goals. These are my ministry goals. And for the last 21 years now, I haven't changed those ministry goals. I guess now with all the balanced living and balanced leadership, what I'm starting to learn is I don't want to live a balanced life. I don't want to say yes to great things if they take me away from the God things. You're in charge of your schedule. Right now, we live in a day and age where we're looking at everything that's being canceled. Church is being canceled. Large groups are being canceled. Small groups are being canceled. Prom is being canceled right now. All of our mission trips are being canceled. All of our summer camps are being canceled. It seems like every 2 days there's a new list of things being canceled. In this time and season, can I just give you a couple things that aren't being canceled? The way you love your spouse is not being canceled right now. In fact, my bet is we have a little bit more time to do that and to do that well and to do that strategically. If you're single, the way you're preparing and taking care of your singleness and preparing for your future marriage has not been canceled right now. Your morality and your sexual integrity at this time with sometimes more freedom is more under assault than ever before. The way we take care and love our kids, I don't care what age they are right now, whether it's adults with your own kids and grandkids or whether they're small, has not been canceled. In fact, I have a little bit more time with my kids. Man, I know with their schools being canceled, they have more time for me right now. The way we love each other and take care of each other has not been canceled right now. Here's what I hope. I hope that through this season of being unplugged because the line can't come to my door anymore, I hope we work on ourselves. And I hope we come to understand why the quiet verses are there in the midst of the crazy ministry of chapter 1. Because healthy leaders can build healthy teams, and healthy teams can build a healthy church. We have to stop coming to conferences that tell us how to build a church, how to have a successful ministry, if the team isn't healthy and if we're not healthy. Because let me tell you, you can probably lead a successful ministry, but it won't be healthy unless you are. Oh, you can lead numbers. You can lead crowds, but you can't lead health unless you have it. In this season, I hope that whenever the doors open, whenever we can come out of wherever we've been hiding over these next couple months, whenever we can go back to whatever normal is going to be, I hope we reemerge healthy leaders because we've taken this time to come back to chapter 1 and lay some foundations. I will not ruin my family for the sake of other families. I will not hurt my marriage by trying to help yours. And I will not damage my kids because I'm trying to protect yours and put them in a great place. Oh, I can do good ministry. Hopefully I can do great ministry, but it is going to be unbalanced because my family, my kids, my personal walk with God has to come first. When I lose Chris, I lose my right to do ministry. It's chapter 1. Oh, it was feeding the 5,000. Oh, it was before he made his most important decisions of staff. Oh, yeah, it's actually in the garden. Actually, throughout the life of Christ, he showed us crazy, chaotic ministry. You better be healthy. Because if you lose chapter 1, you're going to lose every chapter that follows. How you doing with the God things in your life? Not the great opportunities. This is a time and season, I beg you, I encourage you, pour into the God-given relationships he's given you so that when we come out of this season, we can live unbalanced forever and be involved in good ministry, maybe even great ministry, but an unbalanced ministry. Because those that God has given us love who we are, how we serve him, and where we serve. I believe it's in chapter 1 simply for a reason. A healthy leader can lead a healthy team. Healthy teams will build a healthy church. Let's work on step 1 before we ever start dreaming about step 2 and step 3. Oh, I miss you guys. I want nothing other than just to hang out with you guys now for the next 2 days and listen to great speakers, but we're all going to do it online. Thrive, thanks for putting this together. For the rest of us, let's follow the blueprint that's been there from the beginning. If it was good enough for Jesus, it's probably good enough for us. Hopefully next year, I'll catch you in person.